Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Hika Guard. Before we go live to our players, please check out the following links, including our social links. You can find our Discord, where you can come and be a part of the community, and find a channel dedicated to this very campaign where you can talk about it. Also on Twitter, if you'd like to come and play in this game or games like it, send me a DM there, and I will get you a game. And if you head over to YouTube, you can catch up on all the other episodes of this and all the other campaigns. The videos playing just before our intro movie there were from Hero Forge, who currently have a Kickstarter running for colored resin minis. That's right. Minis that print in colored resin. Their Kickstarter has already beat 1.75 million, 4,000% funded in 7 days, and we've still got 3 weeks to go, and who knows what stretch goals we'll unlock. Also check out Mage Hand Press. Mage Hand Press created the Dark Matter expansion for 5e, now available in hardback, and if you go to their website and use our special code, you can get a 15% discount. Also, check out the Deck of Many Things. They create animated cards for reference cards for 5e, including the Deck of Many Things, which actually affects play, and everything from cantrips through to level 9 spell cards. That's right, cards that cast as you cast. Thank you for listening to this short announcement. Now we'll hand you over to our players. Let's hand over to you, Heaven.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hika Guard. As you can see, Alice is not with us today, so I will be taking over the duties of introductions. Let's start with, it'll be from the bottom of my screen to the top. So let us begin with Cora. Hi, Cora.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, happy to be here. I'm not really sure what information you need from me, but
whatever you want to share.
Wonderful. My name is Cora. You can find me on Twitter as Glamourbomb, and tonight I will be playing a individual known as Praxis Ryle, and I hope that I can entertain you.
Thank you. Let's go to our next player of the week, Chabby?
Chobby or Chad, whichever you prefer. I'm not picky.
Chabby.
Yeah, that's Chad's the one my mom gave me. Anyway, yes, I'm Hallway 7 Secrets, Chad Chobby. I will be playing Atlas. This is my first time doing something like this, and I'm really excited for it.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show. And last but certainly not least, the always beautiful Hans. Hans, hi.
Oh, hello. Thank you for calling me beautiful. I'm really very shallow. I only come on the show to get compliments. That's all I'm here for. So I'm playing Kai Suzuka, and he is a mystic who is totally normal and has no personality defects, makes very wise decisions.
Perfect. And I am Heavenly. I am your game master. And that's all you need to know about me. I play all of the characters, including the awful ones. So because Alice is not here, we wanted to, last week I wasn't here and Hans ran a really cool Imogen backstory, which I was like way jealous of that he had come up with that and I hadn't. And I was only like slightly put off at his genius and like only a little freaking out that I was following up that. But then Alice wasn't able to make it today and I was like, perfect, now we can do a Kai backstory and we'll get all the backstory we want. So this will be a canon adjacent story. And this will take place. Kai, how old are you?
At the time of this particular story?
Like currently, in our current story.
In the current game world, let's say Kai's like 32.
Okay. And when do you think you left the Legion?
Kind of recently. So maybe like 5 years ago.
All right. So this maybe took place, you'd been with the Legion for a while at this point, but you didn't really make it that far.
Well, I mean, how far do you really have to make it?
One of the reasons maybe you didn't make it so far is because you have a tendency to touch artifacts that don't belong to you.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Well, I think in one such situation, you were on the planet of Nightfall in the Breck system. And Nightfall is a heavily populated planet, lots of cities, but it is controlled completely by the 51st Legion. And so they have a pretty large outpost there. They put a lot of people there. It may or may not be known that not a lot of people who are on Nightfall are super important, but you know what? There's a big Legion presence. So even if it's not sergeants and captains, space sergeants and space captains and the such, there's enough of them that the port feels well protected. And on Nightfall, there is a rather divey bar called the Coiled Cove. And there are all sorts of illicit schemes going on beneath the outer exterior of the Coiled Cove. And people are fond of gambling. And I think it's at one of these gambling tables that we find two oddballs, Atlas and Praxis. Is it Praxis or Prax?
Praxis.
Praxis. Now, Atlas, I know that you came about Praxis in a gambling match. Do you gamble often?
No, I think it was just like a spur of the moment thing. I saw, Praxis was with them, and the suckers didn't know what they had.
And to be fair, we will make it obvious that Praxis is a robot, an android. It is not a person. People are not gambling off humans. And to avoid any type of allegories of like slavery and contracts being sold, we'll say that in this world, the way that androids work is that they are given access to Urbot technology, which allows them sentience, and they're required to work for 5 years, and then they're totally free. So you just happen to win the last 3 years of Praxis's contract. So she is essentially one of your employees. You do still have to feed her and give her a super cool place to live, and you have to take her out for her birthday every year. That's standard in all Urbot contracts.
Of course.
But Praxis, you're pretty good with numbers. Do you like to gamble?
I'm not entirely sure whether or not I would say that I like to gamble, but I do find that I have a knack for it. Things with numbers I'm usually very good with, so I'd say it's more of a skill and a bit of a hobby than anything else.
Well, the two of you are looking to pass time. Maybe you're between contracts. Maybe you're just looking to lay low, little R&R vacation, whatever one does in the very hectic life of someone who works at their own pace here in the system. And you're at a table. Cards, space turtles, who knows? Atlas Praxis, you are faced against 3 other gentlemen, humans, and they're looking down at you over, what's the game today? We're playing cards? Are we racing raindrops? Snails?
Cards.
Perfect. I don't know any cards except for Go Fish, so we're playing a very competitive game of Go Fish. And Atlas, you have a pretty big stack of cards in your hand. You've had to go fish quite a lot.
This means I have tons of options to choose from, right?
As we see Atlas and Praxis at this table, what do we see exactly? Let's start with Atlas. What do you look like?
So I've got like a deep purple hair. Imagine if mine wasn't washed out by my light. I've got like thick like pants, like work pants, knee pads, and I've got a shearling coat that I'm wearing. Clean shaven. I've got a pair of glasses on, like on my head, but I'm not like wearing them like you are. And I'm just kind of like mulling over my cards.
Praxis, what do we see when we look at you?
When you see Praxis, what you see is a completely metallic form, no hair, just chrome domed, glasses, something that almost looks like makeup, but it's basically just the metal of her actual face. So it's just permanently there, almost like tattooed on skin. She's wearing a tight-fitting dress that on top of it is like a mesh see-through almost cape that is attached to a collar and kind of goes off the shoulders and kind of comes down. So she looks very refined and very formal, even in a seedy place like a gambling area. But that's just because that's what she thinks you should try and look like if you're trying to look a little bit more human. This is the type of human that she wishes to emulate, so she dresses for the part.
So she's very humanoid in appearance. She looks like a metallic human woman?
Yes.
Okay. And she prefers she pronouns?
She pronouns. If they pronouns are thrown in as well, that's completely fine, but typically she.
And never it?
Never.
Okay.
Be the last thing that you do breathing.
Okay. Does Praxis change outfits, or is this what she wears all the time?
This is typically what she wears all the time. It's almost become a uniform based on her previous line of work before she ended up in the hands of Atlas. But she's always interested in looking into more of the finer things. She just hasn't really gotten to that part yet.
Are you playing as well? Do you have a hand of cards, or are you just standing or sitting near Atlas as he plays?
I'm kind of standing near Atlas as he plays, kind of doing that, typical mafioso Don move where he's sitting and playing cards and I'm just kind of standing behind him, completely emotionless, just kind of like watching the game and all the while mentally like calculating everything that's going on at the table and trying to figure out a way to like best non-verbally indicate to him like moves that he should do to help him win.
Are you two cheating?
That is
I'm not
such an
above it.
ugly word. Cheating's such an ugly word.
Praxis, do you have X-ray vision?
I don't believe that I do.
But you can count
So
cards
no.
for sure.
Yes, that I can
Okay.
definitely do.
All right. Well, Atlas, you have your fatty stack of cards as you guys have unsuccessfully gone fishing multiple times. And across from you is one human, and he's holding just a few cards in his hands. And he turns to you, Atlas, and he says, "Do you have any 3 of hearts?"
1 second, and I just like start riffling through the giant pile to see if I find it. 3 of what? Yeah.
Hearts?
Hearts. Specific.
I think that's how this game works. I think you're supposed to say a specific number and a specific suit.
Not back home where I come from, but my good friend, you are in luck.
One of the other guy goes, "Well, hold on, wait, how do you play it where you're from?"
It's just the numbers.
Oh, interesting. So you could do any type of mitch and matching?
Well, the numbers got to match, but like you can have a club and a spade.
Well, then what's the point of shuffling 7 different decks together?
I did think that was a bit different.
Yeah, because then someone's always the odd man out. And you know what happens to the odd man out? He says, he looks at the other two and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know."
Of course. But just in case my friend here doesn't know, what happens to the odd man out?
Well, you double the pot.
Ah, yes.
It's kind of a 2-way type of gambling situation. There's always a winner. There's always a loser.
Aha. Yes.
And then everyone else who also loses. So you can lose twice.
That seems rough.
I'm not a very large fan of those calculations, honestly. Can't say that I'm a big fan of those percentages. I would advise against it.
Against losing? Yes, I would also advise against that.
Well, I would advise against gambling in a thing that you know that you have twice as likely the possibility of losing, but
that's what
just
makes
me.
it so much fun, the thrill, the terror, the idea that at any moment you could lose all your cred. And then what? You have no food, you have no water, can't pay your rent, can't buy new shoes, can't fix your ship, that hole gets a little bigger. All of a sudden, space. It's everywhere. It's in your lungs. You're frozen to death. You've spaced yourself. All because you lost at Go Fish. It's fast and loose we play. So the rules of space.
I just like gulp very loudly, just audibly.
I
Really should ask the
at
rules
this
before we
time you are
started.
feeling a little intimidated.
Who, me?
Not you, my friend
me,
here.
Me intimidated? Please. All right, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. Listen, the guy who asked you if you had a 3 of hearts, he puts his cards down. What do we say we play an easy game? Poker. What are the types of poker? I don't know. I've never played poker in my life. The one that you have 5 cards in your hand. 5-hand poker.
Five card stud?
Yes, thank you. Let's play that game that I know very well because I'm a seedy criminal and I gamble all the time. One more time. And he reaches into his jacket and he pulls out a little kind of like USB type device. And he says, I got something better than cred and something better than unlimited tab at the bar there. This is coordinates someplace here on Nightfall that has something real choice. An artifact.
Interesting. What do you say, Praxis?
That seems like a very high wager. I'm curious as to what you were expecting us to put down in response.
Well, let's say I've lost too many hands of Go Fish here and I'm in need of a new ship.
Are you able to help with that, Atlas?
That is a very good question that I will defer to our GM.
Do you think you would have a ship? You travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
You can have a ship if you want. There's no rules in space.
Okay, that's fair. I've been doing probably a lot of more work for travel type things. That's how I've kind of pictured myself getting around.
Mm-hmm.
No reason I can't find a ship.
Listen, how about this? I don't care about how you get the ship. I need a ship. You put a ship up against my coordinates to the artifact. I've developed this accent somewhere in the middle of me talking. I like it. I think I'm going to stick with it. This is the new me. This is the new Francis Fortnite. This is
All right, look, I think it's a good one.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you some props, all right?
Thank you.
All right.
What do you say? Man like you could probably get a ship.
I gotta get my hands on something.
Okay. And then we play the 5-handed Texas peg.
Yeah, 5-card stud. That
Yep.
one? Yeah.
Exactly, as you said before.
Good.
All right. He motions for one of the guys next to him, and he starts shuffling. Well, actually, first, because they did just shuffle 7 decks together. First, they have to separate the decks, which takes like 7 minutes because it's a lot of decks, and then they shuffle the decks. And as this is going on, and they're getting ready to set up this game of cards, Kai, you've been at Nightfall long enough that you know this city pretty well. Do you tend to stick close to the barracks? Do you stick with your own kind, or do you wander as much as you can?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Kai is a wanderer because he doesn't know what he's trying to look for, but he knows he hasn't found it yet. So he looks everywhere.
Okay. Do you have a lot of friends, or are you
No, I don't think
a
that's ever
loner?
been the case. Yeah. I got to play this true to life. I think that's how Kai would do things.
Okay. So you have some downtime right now. The way that the Legion works is, I think, fairly typical, like mall security. You have shifts, there's a break room, you work for 8 hours, and then you have your time off and you're scheduled. This is the future. So the most that you ever work is 25 hours a week, 25 to 30 hours, really. I mean, we're talking 4-day work weeks. And they're just 6 hours a day. So whatever 6 times 4 is 20. I can do math. Okay. All the people who say I can't do math, I think I just did that math pretty quickly, and I don't want to brag. So you are at the end of your shift and you have a standard 3-day weekend ahead of you. You still have a couple more hours to go, but you are taking your mandated break, which is required for you to take every 3 hours. And it's 30 minutes. Do you go to the break room, or are you heading outside of your patrol zone?
Well, that's a really good question. Where am I most likely to get in trouble for touching things?
Well, I don't know if you would relegate that to your 3-day weekend. Do you like kind of keep your hands in your sleeves during the work week?
No, definitely
Would you try and get some touchies in while you're on the clock?
Yeah, I mean, Kai is going to be in trouble for a reason, and I feel like what he would do is maximize the opportunities to get in trouble as often as possible. Just like he wants to be involved with things, and he's very tactile.
Okay. That's why they call you Old Tactile Finger Man.
That's my own fault, yes.
Okay. So then I think the most trouble that you could get into would probably be in the cloister of shops. That's right off the port. Kind of the first thing that when people land, they are bombarded with advertisements, people spraying perfume, food samples, a pet shop, to really get them sucked in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you want to head
so
there?
I would be there, yes.
Okay. As you are heading out, you hear the sound of footsteps behind you, and a familiar voice says, Kai, hey Kai, I've got something.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And you see SP Winston, and he is an interesting fellow. He's been feeding you lots of information. What he gets out of it, you're not 100% sure, but you know that quite a few times he's given you the location of very cool stuff to touch.
Okay.
And he says, Kai, I think I've got something big this time.
Okay, I'm ready.
Last time when I told you about the octopus, do you remember how cool that was?
It was good. Yep.
That was nothing compared to what I've got right now.
Okay.
And he's wearing his very crisp uniform, and he reaches into the back pocket and he pulls out a small p-hone. For those who are just tuning in, p-hone is the universal computer phone system invented by Pbert Homely, and everyone has them. You use them for everything. He pulls out a very small p-hone, and he says, do you like it? It's the newest one. It's the Razor. Can I see yours?
I don't know where I kept mine. I think it's in my barracks or something like that.
Well, but I need to touch them so I can transfer the information to you.
I don't know where I left it.
Do you want, should I call it?
Sure, yeah.
Well, okay. He dials your number.
Okay. And it's like in Kai's boot or something like that. He's not been paying any attention at all.
Is it on silent, or do you have a ringtone?
I'm sure it's ringing. It's got a ring.
What's the ringtone?
The Hegemony National Anthem.
Is it though?
Sure, why not? I mean, what have you got? I'm open to suggestions here.
No, I want to know what Kai would put as his ringtone on his phone since he doesn't have it on silent. I feel like that's it tells you a lot about a person when they don't have their phone on silent and they want you to listen to a ringtone.
It's also a government phone. I mean, I don't feel like it's his personal device, so that's probably the default ringtone.
Yes, you're not wrong on that front. Okay, yeah, the Hegemony national anthem rings, and it's just like, ooh, the Hegemony is so cool. Everything's great. We got a 4-day work week. We work 20 hours a day. There's a nacho machine and smoothies too. That's the national anthem.
That's how they get people to sign up. Yeah.
So you hear it vibrate a little bit, but it's definitely ringing from your boot. And Winston says, "It's in your boot, man."
Yeah, it's in my boot again. Okay, and I retrieve the phone from my boot, P-hone from my boot.
Thank you. He holds out his P-hone and he indicates that he wants you to touch them.
Okay.
You go boop, 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 boop. You get a little notification on your P-hone. It says accept incoming airdrop.
I already touched
Sorry. It says accept incoming space throw. That's what it's called.
Sure.
You accept it. A package opens, a little folder, and it is coordinates to someplace here on Nightfall in the city. And he says, "I found an artifact." Oops, okay, that was Francis's voice. Found an artifact.
Okay. I'm gonna go now. I'm just gonna go now. I don't need to sign out, right?
Sign out of work?
Yeah, I mean, they don't. I'll just get a demerit again. It's fine.
I don't know. I don't know if they've ever checked. I mean, our paychecks are always the same, really, no matter what.
That's a good point. I'll just go now. Yeah.
Do you want to know what the artifact is, or like, what? Are you just gonna go?
Did you want to tell me, or should I just go? Is it like a surprise?
No, you have to know what it is, or else how are you gonna find it?
That's why I would touch everything so that I can find out which one it is.
I just feel like you would be better prepared if you kind of knew what you were looking for.
Okay, that's not really my style, being prepared, but I will try it for you. What is it?
All right. He gets very excited. All right.
Okay.
It's called the Cloak of Night.
Okay.
Yep, it's a cloak.
Like one that you wear.
Yep, like you wear. Like clasps.
Like the uniform cloaks for like the officers.
Yes, exactly like that, except for theirs is that very beautiful magenta. This one, totally black.
Oh, that's much better.
Totally black. And it lets you walk through solid matter.
Okay.
Like walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And people, I don't know. But definitely walls. So
I should probably go find that right now.
If you get it, I do want to use it at least once. And that is kind of my requirement.
Okay. Sounds
cool?
Fine. Yeah.
Cool. You know what? I've always liked you. People say stuff about you. I never believed it.
Yeah, they say it usually right when I can hear them. They don't seem to mind at all.
No, yeah, people are very mean here. But I don't, you know what? And you know what? If it is true, if you do touch everyone's face at night while they're sleeping, I don't mind. I'm not using it. You know what I mean? I'm sleeping.
I've only done that 15 or 16 times.
To who? Whose faces have you touched? Have you touched mine?
Mostly yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good. I was going to be offended actually if you said no, so.
Okay, well.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go back to, it's actually the end of my 3-day weekend. So, you know, it's my Sunday if we still used those days of the weeks, which we don't because they didn't make any sense. We updated them. But like the old people say, it's my Sunday. So
I'm gonna go touch that cloak.
Okay, if you ever wanted to hang out, so yeah, no, sorry, you're right. Yeah, go touch the cloak.
Already turning and walking away.
All right, bye. Atlas and Praxis. You are finishing your rounds of this game and you have all the cards that you need. A flush, 5-card flush, all high suits, a royal flush. Do you get those in this game?
Hope so.
Cool, you've got it. It's the highest one. Don't at me if that's not true. I don't care.
And it is the highest one. You nailed
it. You've got a royal flush, and the other two guys, Ollie and Regis, they're already out of the match. It's just you and Francis. And Francis says, "You don't got nothing. I know what you got in the hand. You don't got shit. I can tell. I can read it. You have a tell when something's not adding up. You do this thing with your, like, kind of like that. You go like, I can tell.
I do not.
Yeah, you do. Hey, Brett. I'm sorry. I don't even know your names. What are your names? I'm Francis Fortnite. What's your name?
I'm Atlas, and this is my traveling companion, Praxis.
Praxis Ryle.
Nice to meet you. Praxis, doesn't he do that thing when he's lying? He goes like...
It's more of a... But... I'm not sure if you're aware that you also have a tell.
No, I don't think so. They call me Francis Pokerface. I've never told anyone anything that I didn't want them to know.
Your face would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, as he says that, he's like, never told anyone anything I didn't want them to know.
He didn't even know the name of the game.
Hey, listen. I let you name the game and explain the rules, and I'm trusting you, Atlas. You seem like a trustworthy guy. You know why? Because I know when you're lying. And when you said the rules, you didn't do that thing with your face. So I knew you were telling the truth.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm putting it all in. The ship that you're getting me, the coordinates on that little thingy there. Here we go. This is it. It's the game. What do I got? He flips over his cards. He has a shit hand. He has 4 2s. You don't even know how it's possible. It would be a good hand if that made sense, but he has 5 2s. Oh my gosh, he was cheating. He has 5 2s. He's so embarrassed. And he goes, he got me. Darn it. Whoops.
Well, as honest gentlemen, I accept the pot, and I'm just gonna reach over and scoop everything up.
Right. There was only the one thing in it because there was no ship on the table. So
perfect.
Or keys for that matter to a ship.
Right. I just overly just for the one flash drive thing, just rake it in.
Yeah, and he's like, "Wow, congratulations!" So.
Thanks, Francis. I appreciate that.
I got that from I got a guy in the Legion, so he's the one who told me about that, and all the deets that you need are on there. And good luck.
Excellent.
I mean, we do space crime here, but we stick to the rules, and the rules are that you won that fair and square. So I'm not gonna try and kill you. I'm not gonna follow you to wherever you're staying, stab you a bunch of times and take it back. I'm not gonna do that, okay? Because we've got rules here.
I'm gonna watch for tells as he says all this thing, and kind of side glance at Praxis,
he seems like he's being honest.
Okay.
I have a special ability to be able to detect when someone is lying to me.
He's not lying.
Okay, perfect.
Fair enough.
I'm probably I'm the kind of guy who'd buy him a consolation drink if he's receptive to it. So.
Oh yeah, yep. He will let you buy him a drink. Are you buying drinks for all the boys or just me? Because if you're buying drinks for me, you gotta buy drinks for my boys. Me and my boys, we don't do anything without one another.
I can respect that, and I'll order around for the table of gamblers.
Table of boys.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you two drink as well? Praxis, can you drink? Can you eat? What's that like?
I think that Praxis is actually more like a plant in that she recharges almost photosynthetically. So she doesn't actually eat or drink. So she might mimic it, stand somewhere with someone's empty beer bottle to make it seem like she is also drinking, but she doesn't actually partake in anything herself.
Okay.
And then so I'll cheers.
Cheers.
And take a small sip, and then just kind of like lower the drink down to like pocket level.
Mm-hmm.
And a little furry head like pops out and like laps up a couple sips and then pops back in.
One of the other guys goes like, "Whoa, what was that? Whoa, Francis, did you see that? Did you see that? What was that?"
Oh, that's Fen. It's my little friend.
Fen? Who's Fen?
So I'll just like kind of reach into the pocket and see if he crawls out and like pull him out and present him like, this is Fen, and it looks like almost like a tiny little fox, but it has a bluish tint to its fur. This is Fen.
How big is he?
He fits pretty well in my hand. He's a little.
Oh,
He's pretty small. He's probably like fist-sized ish.
Whoa, that's pretty darn cute. Dang. I wish I had known that you had that in your pocket. Maybe I would have asked for that instead of a ship, but doesn't matter.
Never in a
you
million
won.
years. Not gonna happen.
Oh, okay, well then, good thing I asked for a ship then.
Yeah.
Where'd you get a little guy like that? What's his name? Fen? Like Fen?
Fen. Like F-E-N.
Oh,
Fen.
Fen, yeah.
Yeah.
Like friends, Fen,
Yeah.
friends. Friend, the friend. Huh, love it. Where'd you get him?
I got him on. I don't really know the name of the systems around here. Me personally.
I don't even know the name of the systems.
Yeah, exactly. I met him while I was on a job, and we kind of took to each other.
Oh, that's real cool. I like that. All right, well, cheers. Cheers to us, and cheers to you, and cheers to your friend, and cheers to your traveling companion.
Clink glasses.
Yeah, well, take their shot.
Cheers. And Praxis is going to kind of clink her fingers together, and they do that metallic like ting noise.
Ting. Like a little sounding.
A little tuning fork.
Yeah,
Exactly.
tuning fork is exactly what I was thinking of.
So after they finish their rounds, they kind of shuffle the cards again and deal themselves into another game. But it's clear that they have kind of closed the table.
Yeah.
And it's just the three of them now playing.
Yep, that's fair. I'd like push out my chair and step up and stretch. Be like, well, Praxis, let's say we find ourselves a shiny.
Sounds like a good idea. And Praxis is actually going to kind of hold her hand out to you to take the
little jump drive dealy.
Thank you, jump drive. I was going to say hard drive, and I'm like, no, that's not what it is. Take the jump drive, and if you give it to her, she's basically actually going to put it in a port in the back of her neck to start downloading the information that is on it into her internal drive and get the information off of it.
Nice. Yeah, I'd definitely pass it over. I'd probably want it back afterwards to get it into my own pad, but yeah.
Sounds good. She'll give it back to you as soon as she is done downloading the information.
Perfect.
So do you two want to discuss practice? Do you want to bring up what you find on this drive here at the bar, or are you all moving someplace else?
I would assume that we're kind of like walking as we're going, at least to get out of the gambling area, and then maybe once we're like outside of that space, she's gonna probably have them pause so that they can figure out where they actually need to go, so they're not just wandering aimlessly, and then relay the information to Atlas as she hands the drive back to him.
Are you staying in like a room around on Nightfall, or were you kind of just in Nightfall for the day?
I mean, before depends on how recently she came into working for Atlas.
I think you two have been working together for a few months at least. You two know each other well enough.
Okay. Perfect.
Then I leave that up to your discretion, Atlas.
All right. Yeah, I figure like we'd probably have some place we're staying while looking for work or leads or what have you.
Mhm.
So if there's a motel or something nearby, maybe we'd be camping out there, and that might be a good place to kind of discuss plans.
Yeah. So this bar was pretty well in the center of the city. So Nightfall is built kind of in a circular pattern, which is true for a lot of these cities. So when you come into the port, a majority of the business is going to be right on the port. It's a pseudo downtown because obviously that's where a majority of people are coming through. So that's where everyone wants to have the businesses. But they're also the higher end businesses, people who can afford to pay the rent of being so close to this primo spot. But you can definitely find very affordable accommodations within a short walk. And the city's very mobile transit friendly, so you can pretty much walk everywhere, and anywhere you can't walk, you can get like a little speedy bike that's like on rails that'll take you wherever you need to go. But you could probably get to where you are staying with, 20 minutes of walking, 5 minutes on the little bike if you want to do that, or you can stay in the downtown area. There are like cafes, there are other bars. Everything's typically open 24 hours.
This is probably, as far as an artifact goes, like I feel like it'd be something we'd maybe discuss in like as private as possible.
Okay. Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind taking the quick way there, so we're not like, just wandering for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you two make it back pretty quickly. And when you get through your doors, Praxis, I guess probably while you're walking, you're going through all of the data that you've been given. So you've been given a good amount of information. You've been given the name of an artifact called the Cloak of Night and all of its specs. You know that it looks like a black cape, a cloak that someone would wear, and that it's folded up in a black box. That is where it's secured. You know that it allows you to walk through solid matter. You also know that whoever's wearing it has to hold their breath while they're passing through solid matter. And if they were to exhale, they would then stop passing through solid matter and be a part of whatever they were trying to walk through. So it's super important that you hold your breath. And you also know that there are some issues with it. This is why it has been locked up and it is not something that anyone has access to. It has a glitch where when you put it on, you fade from reality.
Yikes.
Whatever that means, right? Fuck, that sounds awful.
What's even real? Who knows?
You know that
and everything hurts.
You know that it's here in Nightfall. Pretty far outside the city, definitely not in the center. You know that it's at a base. Ooh, can you guys still hear and see me?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it's just my end that's being super spotty. Am I super spotty?
No, you seem to be fine.
Okay, cool. Then it's just my thing that's doing that. What else? What else would you know? So you know the base that it's being kept at is a 51st Legion base. And with it, it has very basic information on the patrols. Nothing super detailed, but you do know that all in all, there are about 10 people who work at this base at any given time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad.
You've also been given the name of a 51st Legion officer. I guess you wouldn't be an officer, Kai. You would be like a space private. You've been given the name Space Private Kai Suzuke. That's your last name, right? Yeah.
You got it.
And next to Kai's name is the word mystic. So you know that Kai is someone who is in tune with the strange machinations of artifacts. And although not a mystic doesn't have to be the person who touches an artifact, mystics are able to kind of handle artifacts easier because they have this raw power that mystics are able to get into contact with or able to control in some way.
What sort of context is Kai's name used again? Sorry.
It's listed as he's one of the privates that is on the space.
Okay.
But also that he is a mystic.
Gotcha. Okay. So he's kind of like the resident relic toucher.
He's the resident relic. He's the unofficial.
All right.
Resident relic toucher.
So I have a small question on like my like gear, like what I have on me.
Yes.
I hope I picked items correctly first of all, but so I have a communicator listed on here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that some sort of like is there like a standardized thing that a communicator is in game, or?
The communicator will be, since everyone has p-hones, a communicator is going to be much higher grade, pseudo-military grade, something that would allow you to, p-hones do require, much like our phones, which they're like very loosely based on, you have to have service and you have to be within a certain range. A communicator is going to have a much further range, so it's something that you can use in space travel while you're flying with a little bit more reliability.
Okay. And is it something that I'd be able to like plug in this stick and get the all the info as opposed to waiting for Praxis to process it?
I mean, you could also plug it into your p-home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yes, you would then have access to all the same information. And the way that your gear works, I'm not sure. I remember saying this at some point, but I don't know if I said it to both of you. Mm-hmm. You get every gear that your playbook has. You get all of that. Okay. However much you have equipped just determines how suspicious you look, because it's basically about how well prepared you are. So like if you were to, I'm looking at your sheet now, if you were to roll up with your blaster pistol, a detonator, your hacking tools, drugs, and armor, obviously people would look at you and be like, what? Why is that person wearing armor and have so many weapons and also drugs? Why are there drugs just in a see-through pocket on the outside of the armor? But if you were to only have a few of those items, they would be a little more concealed.
I gotcha.
But you can technically be as well loaded as you wanted to. There are no weight restrictions.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I would just be perusing through info.
Okay. Well, you have all the same. You have basically all that information that I gave you.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys make it to your space motel, your sotel.
Okay.
Pretty quickly, and no one stops you because you're not doing anything weird.
Suspicious, right? And okay. Yeah. So once we're like kind of in the privacy of the, I don't know if we had one room or two rooms, but one of the rooms.
You can have two rooms that are connected with a door.
Perfect.
There you go.
Sweet living. I like it. All right. So, what are we thinking? If we want to get our hands on this thing, this Kai person might be a good contact for us.
I would wholeheartedly agree. Do you want to go sooner rather than later? Do we want to wait until possibly later on to go in and see what we can do and if we can find them to talk to?
Probably want to wait until late to actually pull this thing off, but we don't want to miss him. So maybe we should try to track him down.
I think it would be good for us to head in that direction, see if we can find him, talk to him, interact with him however we need to. And then worst comes to worst, we take the information that we can get from him and come back later on our own and go from there.
Sounds like a loosely defined plan.
I do happen to like them to be a little bit more rigid, but this is going on what we have so far, so I think it's our best option.
All right. Kai, you are given this information from Winston, and for the most part, you're given the same of what Atlas and Praxis have gotten, but you have a bit more information. Not only from the file that Winston gave you, but because you actually, this is your home operation. You weren't at the base at the time because you were on your job, so you were patrolling different parts of the city, but the base is where your bunks are, it's where you sleep. And you know the people who work there, you work with them, you live with them. And so you know the 10 people who are on guard at any given time. Well, I'll say that you know this. You know that the information that Atlas and Praxis were given was that there are 10 people there. What you know is that there are 10 people on guard at any given time, but there are more people there, obviously, because that's where people live. This is kind of like a barracks. And you know the routes of those people, the schedules pretty well. But you do have to get back to the base first. You are at work, and you're technically on a 30-minute break, so you are supposed to be working for 3 more hours.
I mean, I guess I can go back to work. If what you're telling me is that I would be expected to go back to work, I guess I can go back to work.
Oh, it's up to you. You're tactile, touchy fingers over here.
Mm-hmm. I'm really thinking too about the fact that I want to discover this artifact. I don't actually care what the work schedule is supposed to be at this point. Yeah, I probably am not going back to work.
Love it. Okay. Well, when you get back to the base, is there anything in particular you want to do?
I guess I'm going to be observing, like very briefly in that Kai way, meaning walking directly at the object without really paying any attention to anybody at all, and then hoping not to get caught. I guess I'm going straight towards this object.
Okay. So it is kept in a subsection of the base that you don't know about. You know about it now because it's in the files, but you definitely did not know that there was a third basement. You knew about the first basement and you had heard rumors about the second basement, but like now there's a third basement. That's weird. You have a good idea of how to get down to the first basement, even though it is restricted. You don't have any idea how to get down to the second and third basement.
Well, I would say that Kai's typical way of approaching a problem like this would be to blindly walk at the problem and assume that the way is going to show him how to unlock that second and third level of the basement eventually.
Okay. Do you want to do an attune roll at the start here?
Would that sound like a good approach to you? You think that's how we should do this?
I think that's totally up to you. I guess it would help me know how difficult to make it, you getting into the basement or you knowing what to do.
Super fair. Okay, so yes, I think I should do it. And it gives me a great chance to see if this roll window thing shows off the way it's supposed to now, right?
And I think this will be a controlled situation because you are on your own territory and people are used to you acting weird. So if you to just stop in the middle of a hallway and close your eyes and put your fingers out in either direction, they're just like, hey, we get it. You're magical. Ooh.
Okay, yeah, so everybody's already sick of Kai, so that's perfect. So I push the button, I get myself a controlled position, and standard effect. Do you, just a standard effect, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And no bonus dice, and that's that. Okay, not great, but not that bad.
A 4. Let me just double check. I always forget what everything means. Pretty sure 4 is cool, mixed results. Okay. Cool. I'm going to sit on that roll for just a little bit. I'm going to go back to Atlas and Praxis. And I think that your mixed result is really going to come into play when the 3 of you are together.
Perfect.
If that feels fair to you. Feels
very fair.
Okay. Atlas Praxis. I guess your couple name would be Praxilus. What are you all up to? What's the deal? What's the sitch?
I think depending on the time of day, if we're just waiting for it to be well,
You're in a space station, so there's no daytime.
Fair. I was going to say, I know that
they're different light colors. So everything's open 24 hours. In the kind of like classic waking periods, everything is a very beautiful ambient white, but like not harsh white light, but like a very natural white light. And in the evening hours, it's a very fun, very festive blue.
Fair enough. I know that we had talked about waiting until later to possibly get things started, but we'd also mentioned wanting to head out soon to try and meet with Kai. So depending on how familiar we are with this actual area, I would say that we would probably, after discussing our plans, get any gear that we needed to do or felt like we wanted to bring with us and head in the direction of the location of the artifact.
Do you two have a rough plan? I mean, is your plan to just go to the base and then figure it out? Or do you have an idea of are you trying to sneak in? Are you going to go full frontal assault? Do you have the bare bones framework? Do you two want to discuss that now?
I think that, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that what we're kind of thinking of doing is going and talking to Kai to see what he knows and what information he can give us, and to see if maybe he will help us to claim this artifact. And if he is not willing to help us, then just kind of be like, oh, okay, we heard about this. Thanks for the information. Leave, and then probably come back and try and be sneaky.
Yeah, that's pretty much the kind of the overview. I did want to try to see if I could basically find his number, find him and find a way to contact him without walking up to a base and being like, hey, we're looking for this dude. Can you help us?
I think that is definitely possible. You have your communicator, which is, like in a super sweet extension to your P-hone, which allows you a little more reach when it comes to searching through the publicly available, what are they called? Phone books?
Directories?
Directories, thank you. I was going to say dictionaries, but that wouldn't tell you someone's phone number.
No. Tell you how to spell it. No.
Let's go ahead. I think this is a good time for a roll for us to set how well this line of investigation goes for you. So Atlas, if you want to make a roll for me, I will... Let me just get your character sheet. I am going to... I think this might be just like a pure resolve roll.
Okay.
I'm seeing that you don't have anything in resolve, so I'm sorry. That is what I think the roll is. But if you want to argue for it to be something else, you totally can.
Oh, there's resolve. Okay. I was hoping, so I have my hacking rig, which I kind of imagined as a basically a souped up laptop.
Okay.
More or less.
That makes sense to me.
Planned on maybe setting up discreetly either before we leave the hotel or discreetly at a cafe and try to do a deep search.
Okay.
So I was hoping for hacking, but
that makes sense to me. I think that then changes that you're now trying to hack into the Legion's database.
Oh.
So it's a bit of originally if you go, I'll give you kind of a choice. This game is super choice heavy, right? Because it's really meant to be about you guys doing stuff and me just being like, what? Okay. If you want to do resolve, in which you have 0 dice, so you would get 2 dice and you take the lowest.
Yep.
It would be a controlled situation because that's pretty easy. What you're basically going to be doing is everyone's number is pretty publicly available. It's pretty easy, and they would be very low level, just kind of doing a really deep internet search. You know how some people can find anything on the internet with no skill? That would be what you would be doing.
Okay.
If you want to use your hack, it would be a risky situation because now you're trying to get into the Legion's database.
Right.
But you have 2 dice and you get the highest number.
I don't know. Is it too early for heat?
I don't think it's too early for heat.
Yeah, why
And
not?
Praxis can help you in either situation. So
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with my original feeling and see what nifty little info I can get from like the big boy systems.
well, let's do a hack roll. Praxis, I assume that you do want to help.
Yes.
So you'll get an extra dice.
Okay. So I'm just doing like /roll 3d6.
You can actually click. Oh, you can
Or
actually.
can I click on
the-
hack?
You can click on hack, but it'll only give you 2 dice, and then you can just roll another one if you want the pretty effect that it gives you when you click on it in the sheet, or you can just roll 3d6.
All right. Well, I like pretty effects, so we're gonna roll the hack and then roll an extra d6.
Love that. I love the aesthetics of it. Let me see one.
Effect standard. Oh, bonus dice. 1.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I didn't realize it let you do that.
Ah.
And you put the
Spiffy.
position as risky. Cool.
Yes, risky
All right.
standard. 1 bonus die. Neat.
Well, you did a good job just now.
Yeah.
Let's see. But there's going to be a consequence.
Fair enough.
So this will be the consequence. You set up your system, and if this were in our world, this would be a really big, huge rig. But for you, it's actually quite compact, though it probably feels very cumbersome because everything is like paper thin and made of glass in the future,
Yeah.
apparently.
It's like a now laptop, but
Exactly.
Yeah.
You set up your hacking rig, and you the keyboard like changes colors, music starts to play. It's super cool. And you type away at it, and you're like hitting stuff, and you're like going deeper, and you're like busting through firewalls, and you have to play like a little game of Snake at some point, but you beat it, and that's how you get in. And you pull up Kai's information. But when you pull up Kai's information, you get this ping on your phone that has his name and his rank. And just low level information. You didn't hack far enough into the system that you were like getting his medical records, but you kind of got the public face persona page of like, meet our members, that sort of thing.
perfect.
Kai, you feel your p-hone vibrate, and you get a notification that someone is looking at your files.
Okay. And this doesn't particularly alert Kai or like concern him because he's so busy focused on just trying to how to break into the lower basements. So he sees that and continues on. Is there like a button I'm supposed to push to like friend somebody back or something like that?
No, but if you wanted to, you could find out the location of where this signal is coming from, or from where the tracking is taking place.
We can all agree this is the worst future when you can immediately tell where 2 people are by just looking up their name on the phone, right?
Well, he did hack, so it took
Okay,
time.
fair.
It took a little
That's
bit of
fair.
time.
That's very fair. Okay, so
The
with that in
future
mind,
can't be
since-
perfect, okay? We already have a great jail system and no wage slavery, so there has to be some consequences.
Yeah, I have a 3-day weekend coming up. Who am I to complain? I will just push that little like locator button because it seems like a great idea at this time.
Okay. You know that it is coming from a motel just outside of the port entrance. Not too far from the base, but not within the base itself.
Okay, and that's like a good level of weird. That's fairly unusual, I would imagine, and probably the sort of thing where I should immediately leave duty and go check on what's going on while carrying my duty sword. I mean, of course, I'm going to have a sword on me. That's just what you do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was already not tied to the idea of working for the remainder of my shift as it is. So let me go
So you
look
want
at that.
you want to go to the location?
Yeah, I was already about to leave my shift to go break into a secret basement. This doesn't seem like any less sketchy an idea.
You're so right. So you begin to make your way towards this motel, which is fairly easy for you to do because you're very familiar with Nightfall. And even if you weren't familiar, you have this GPS tracker now. Atlas, on your end, you see all of Kai's information and running in the files, the way that I imagine the files is they kind of like are stacked, you know what I mean? Like one of the files starts to move and you can't really see it because there's something in front of it, but you can see like a little something animated moving in one of these back screens.
I'd investigate that. That seems a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah, you minimize the screen, and on this screen, there's a little kind of like chibi avatar of Kaya's face, and it's moving towards you.
Upon seeing that, I'm gonna like panic, shut down my boss is coming, close the Facebook tab, like get out, frantic, and just kind of like shut the whole thing down.
Okay.
Praxis, I have some news.
Wonderful.
I think we're about to meet Kai.
Is that something that we wanted to do? Well, yes, we did want to do that. How soon?
Sooner than anticipated.
Should we go and try and intercept him lest he come directly here? Probably don't want him to come directly here.
I think he already knows where we are, but we might want to have like one abstract layer. I think you would be right on that.
Let's go then.
Yeah. And I'm gonna kind of like stow my hacking rig, and like maybe dig through my bag for a blaster pistol just in case.
Okay. Praxis, what is your loadout right now?
Currently, I'm going to be carrying a blaster pistol on me. I'm going to assume that she, in a typical, femme fatale fashion, is going to have it hooked into like a garter on her thigh.
I'm so glad you said that because I was going to
Nice.
say boobs. So I'm glad that you came up with where that was and not me.
I don't imagine that like robot boobs necessarily have the same type of possibility for cleavage. This is not the time for that conversation.
If there were blasters in them, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, like it says on here, melee weapon. It does not specify what, but that is something else I'm carrying. So I also want to imagine that, like, maybe somewhere on her, like, I don't know, somewhere on her body is something where maybe it's even just like in her wrist and it's a part of her where like she could just kind of snap her arm out and it's like a police baton sort of thing. So that's her melee weapon that's on her as well. And that's it aside from luxury items.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, 2 luxury items. So this system doesn't have any items that are what's the word I'm looking for, that are like given to you, like, you know how in D&D, for example, the items have a description of them. There are no descriptions of the items, of any of the items in this system, because it's meant for you to make up whatever you want. So this melee weapon can be exactly whatever you want it to be.
Perfect. Then it is exactly as I described. It is a police baton that extends out from her wrist, and so she can actually hold it, and it kind of tinges and crackles with energy, very similar to what are those things called?
A stun baton.
Thank you. It's a stun baton.
Cool. I like that. We'll call it a vibro. No, vibro swords, those are things, aren't they? Those exist in some sci-fi world, vibro swords.
Yes, they do.
A zip zap bish bash.
It is called, thank you. Yes, it is the classic zip zap bish bash. You have one of those as well.
It's not the newer model, but it gets the job done.
Well, I mean, who wants the newer model anyways? It comes with glitches that you're unaware of. No one wants to risk that.
Well, and then the moment that you get the new upgrades, there's like 2 more that they come out with, and it's just a hassle. This works fine.
Yeah, exactly. So are you two planning, are you staying in your room or are you attempting to go out and intercept Kai? Because I will remind you, Atlas, that you did just shut down your whole rig, so you don't actually know where Kai is any longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also don't know if he'd see us moving. Probably not, because he would have the location of the rig. What do you think, Praxis? I mean, this is probably as good a meeting place as any, but
I would say at the very least, let's go outside of our room. Maybe just be outside of the motel and just kind of wait somewhere on the street. And you keep a lookout in one direction, I'll keep a lookout in the other, and we'll just kind of scan and wait until we see him. Again, just that added layer of not directly in our den of whatever the fuck back there.
yeah, sounds good.
So you two head outside of your motel room into the what would be a parking lot if cars existed, but is now just like a fun little chill zone. There's a garden and some picnic tables and a little free library. It's updated pretty frequently from people in the neighborhood. It's pretty cool. How are you two standing? Are you trying to look intimidating or are you just kind of relaxing?
Praxis is going to take kind of just a relaxed stance,
Okay.
just kind of almost as if she was waiting for a bus. Like she's just trying to seem as non-threatening as possible because she doesn't know this person and doesn't know what kind of energy they're going to be coming at her with.
Right.
So yeah, non-threatening.
Yeah, Atlas would probably be doing the same. He'd actually, as he kind of like leaning up against something like a sign or a post or something, and he actually just flips down his glasses. I have my vision enhancing goggles.
Cool.
And so I was hoping to kind of get like heat or infrared to kind of just track anyone who might be coming.
Okay. Definitely you have infrared. I will say that X-ray vision is outlawed.
Yep, that's fair.
So
kind of creepy.
If you wanted to do that, you can't in this world because that's weird.
Yeah.
So you are able to track through infrared the various coming and going of hot people. Like, now, I mean, yes, hot people, but also hot bodies,
yes,
if you will. And there are a couple. You're a little bit outside of the downtown area, but they're a little bit of people coming and going. But you see one in particular that seems to be making kind of a beeline towards you. And Kai, you are walking towards this motel. You don't know which room number they're in. You have a GPS location that gives you kind of this motel, and if you really wanted to investigate, you could probably find out which room. But right in front of you is a robot and a human.
Okay. So I look at my phone, I look at the dot. It's a little ways off. I look at my phone again, I look up, I look at them, I look at the dot. Do you know where this is? To them I say.
Yeah.
Do you know where this is?
Kai, I presume?
Yeah, it's Kai.
Just the man we're looking for.
Okay. I think that might be a good place to take a break. If this were a TV show, that would be a fun little commercial. Commercial, cliffhanger.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. I don't know. I don't really know what we do from here. I think we have to wait for Scrat to do something.
Okay, everyone. Well, everyone, we're going to take a short break then. Get up, stretch your legs, grab a drink, take a bio, do all the things that make you human. And we will see you in a short 5 minutes. See you soon.
Woo.
So those of you who are sitting through the break, what you're currently watching in the center of the screen there is the Hero Forge Kickstarter promo video. The Kickstarter has reached $1.7 million in only 7 days a week, and they're still issuing stretch goals. We have 3 weeks left. Who knows how far this Kickstarter could go? It looks absolutely fantastic. What they've come up with, the new Hero Forge 2.0 will be using colored resins to print characters. So these minis you see aren't painted. They are made with colored resin that you can make on the thing and print out just like that. Oh my goodness, Katie Quixotic, thank you so much for the sub and the raid. Welcome in, you lovely, lovely person. I don't know how I missed that as we were getting ready to take the break, I guess. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you.
Sorry, I was looking at a a party light on Amazon that's sound activated. Anyways.
As you do.
It would be so cool for my house. You all have just met and you're outside a motel. Tensions are, it seems pretty low, but it could be a high situation if we wanted it to be, but it sounds like right now we're all keeping it pretty cool.
Playing it chill.
What's going on? What are people thinking? Where do we go from here?
I'd probably take immediate notice of Kai's sword that I believe he said he's carrying on him.
Oh yeah, he's got a sword.
Yeah.
Is it hidden? Kai, are you in uniform?
I mean, Kai's in uniform. He didn't do anything to prepare for this whatsoever, so he is still wearing his full uniform with his uniform sword.
Okay, so.
The real question is it a uniform sword, or does Kai just tell people that's a uniform sword?
That is definitely a Kai question.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out when he gets in trouble later.
Okay, I love that.
Okay, so you two were trying to find me on your P-hone. What do you need?
We were instructed to contact you in regards to an artifact that we came across information regarding.
Okay, I'm listening.
Have you heard of an artifact known as the Cloak of Night?
That's the one.
Yeah, I have. Did you want to go touch it?
Preferably more than that, but to start, yes.
Well, let's go.
Now?
Praxis is going to kind of lean over to Atlas and be like, that was incredibly easy.
I mean, do you have things you need? Because I'm ready to go now.
And you're willing to help us.
I'm going to go touch the cloak. I don't know where it's at. I just have a very vague description. So yeah, it seems like a good idea to bring people who also want to break into a secret base. Yeah.
Well, it's not a secret base, it's a secret basement.
That's a good point. I really should have rephrased that to a secret basement. That's what I meant to say.
I think it's fair if we go right now. Is there anything that you can tell us that we should be prepared for as we head to this place?
I mean, we're going to have to break in. There's going to be a lot of guards. That's all.
Around 10, though, correct? That's not terrible.
Well, there's 10 guards for that area, right?
I'm not sure I follow.
I mean, that room could be about as big as this street, and there could be 10 people just watching us as we walk in and break into this cloak. Break into a cloak.
It would be less than ideal.
Let me rephrase the information that you have, Kai. You know that there are 10 guards on duty of the base, not necessarily at the basement that you're breaking into, but there are more than 10 legionnaires who are at the base because they're off-duty soldiers, people switching shifts. It's just that there are 10 people who kind of patrol the area.
I'd say that Kai probably hasn't noticed how many people are on duty anywhere, like most of the time.
Okay, that's
Because
fair. Then
he's
you have no idea how many people are on duty.
I mean, there's probably going to be 10 people standing in a line in front of this box as far as Kai's concerned, but I mean, he's just going to touch it and put it right back. So, do you want to go now? Should we just go?
Can we just walk in to a Legion base? I mean, you can. You work there, but...
I don't know, but there's only one way we're going to find out.
Then I propose we go sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Okay. So we haven't done this since the first episode, but in the handouts, there are plan types. So before we begin, I just need to know, I don't necessarily need to know too many of the details. Obviously, you'll kind of make it up as you go, and the plan type can change. But here I'm showing it to players, so it should be popping up on your Roll20 screen, so you don't have to look for it. I do just need to know, what is your bare bones idea? Again, are you trying to go in with your sword and your bing, bang, bang, shocky, shock going, or are you trying to sneak in? Are you trying to pretend that you are also legionnaires to get as far as you can? I just kind of need a general idea based on these plan types, what you're doing, so that we can set the engagement from there.
I would say that at the very least, I'm thinking deception. So going in and pretending that we're supposed to be there. Maybe we're being escorted by Kai for a specific reason, and then once we get past people, just try and get as far as we can.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was thinking, like, I am a mechanic, and I have some background in like security tech. So I can just go in with like my rig, like I'm supposed to be there, and for all they know, they might as well be supposed to be there. So we can kind of leverage that.
Perfect.
Kai, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Kai's really just going in there social right now because he's just going to walk in and say, "Hey, I'm here like I am normally here," and then just walk downstairs. So I'm good with either of their plans.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna set the engagement roll then. So we get 1d6 just for sheer luck, and then we'll go over any major advantages and major disadvantage. I think obviously one major advantage is that you have Kai, who is a part of the 51st Legion, so you do have some credence to the fact that you are here. You aren't three strangers. But I will say Kai doesn't know, although I tried to give him the information, he's rejected the information of knowing how many guards are active. so you are going in a little bit blind. Let's see here. I think you'll get 2d6 because I think you'll get 2 for Kai. One is that Kai knows where you're going, so for the most part you don't have to guess, and Kai is able to get you in. So you do get 2 bonuses because those are 2 separate things that Kai is offering you, but you do lose 1 for the fact that Kai doesn't know anything about the guard patrol. So you're just getting 2d6. We're going to set the engagement here. So you are in a, wait, no, where did my thing go? Sorry, hold on. I have so many sticky notes. I think this is a risky situation of 4, but I just want to double check. Yeah, you're in a risky position, which is pretty standard. So, all right. You all head towards the base. And as you get closer, Kai, something that you do every day, perhaps unknowingly, is that you walk by a checkpoint. And as you get closer, those in the checkpoint, there are 2 guards, one out in front of the checkpoint and one inside one of those little like boxes that people stand in. And as you come up, Kai, the one in front is a woman, a human woman, and she holds out her hand and she says, "Hold on a second. Who are those 2 behind you?"
With those 2?
Yes, the 2 behind you.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't ask their names.
Okay. Why are they with you?
Kai turns around slowly and looks at the pair. What are you here to do again?
Speaker.
We were actually requested to come in. Apparently there was a hacking issue that recently took place aboard the ship, and my associate here.
Did you say packing issue?
Hacking with an
Oh.
H.
Okay.
There was a hacking issue that took place recently within your system, and we're actually part of a security protocol that's been sent to investigate it further and see if we can figure out what the issue was. We were actually being escorted here by Kai, you said your name was?
Yes.
We were being escorted by Kai to the location where we need to set up and actually start our process. So I appreciate it if we're able to expedite this as quickly as possible.
Love it. Love it. Okay. That will definitely be a role. You're trying to convince this woman to let you in, although it is her job not to.
All right. So for someone that doesn't typically use Roll20, how do I do this?
Well, first, let me tell you what role it is. I wish my notes were better. I wish I was better at color coordinating my notes so I always knew where I was. And instead, I just flip through this book like, what's going on? Who knows? Not me. I don't.
Feel that super hard.
What page? No one knows. No one has the book except for me. I was going to say, which page does it tell me what everything does?
Like actions.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I found it.
Cool.
So in your chart, whatever one I tell you on the far, sorry. I think you were moving it and it freaked me out. On the far right,
Yes.
there will be your insight, prowess, and resolve.
Yes.
Whichever one of these I tell you will be the one that you click on. It's definitely
Perfect.
going to be resolve, but it's not going to be a general resolve roll. It's going to be one of those. And I think it might be, you're not commanding. I think it's going to be sway. You're trying to convince her of something. You're not using force. You're not being intimidating. You're simply kind of stating something that sounds factual, and you're hoping that she will fall for it. If my understanding of your plan is correct.
That is correct.
All right, so go ahead and just click on the sway, and it should automatically roll you your 2d6s. And when it asks you what the position is, it'll be risky, and the effect is standard. You should have one more dice. You should have, you only have one in sway. Oh no. Praxis, what have you done?
Whoops.
Something terrible has happened. So you give your little spiel to the woman, and she is looking at you, and then she's looking at you, Kai, and she goes, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be on duty?
Does this not count as being on duty?
No.
But I'm escorting people onto the base. Isn't that?
That's
duty?
not your duty. Private? Space private?
Are you sure?
Yes, and you don't get to make a second roll against me by trying to convince me this is your job.
No, this is just Kai generally not knowing what his job actually is, but that's fine.
And now she looks to you, Praxis, and she goes, no one would know about that hack. We don't source outside help for that sort of thing. So either you tell me what you're really doing here, or I'm going to sound the alarm. And she holds up behind her. She holds a hand up to the gentleman behind her who's in the booth. She holds up the hand, a finger that looks like this so he can see. And he stands at attention and is looking at the three of you.
Look, I'm just here to do a diagnostic. If you're not going to let me through, I'm just going to leave.
I'm not going to let you through.
You can go ahead and tell your superiors that you didn't let a tech come and do a scan for vulnerabilities, but whatever. There's certainly nothing of secret import here. I'm just gonna act really annoyed.
She doesn't really seem to be falling for it. She doesn't believe anything that Praxis said, so by extension, she's really not buying anything that you're selling.
All right.
And she says, yeah, I'll take that risk. Kai, go back to work. And I don't know what kind of weird thing you all are doing, but I do not want to be a part of it.
Very well. As my associate said, you can take this up with your supervisors later on, but I'm just happy that I'm not in your shoes. Have a nice day.
All right. Well, there's no day here, so have a nice
yellow light cycle. God.
Okay, well, you also have a nice yellow light cycle.
I will.
I hope your blue light cycle is also really great. And you know what? Have a great white light cycle tomorrow as well.
You know what? You too, because we're just doing our jobs here, and that's all we can be asked of, or all that can be asked of us. Goodbye. Just oddly, congenially angry.
So I'm going to say that once we've kind of dismissed ourselves from this person, that we would head back out the way that we came in. I don't know if Kai is going to follow us, but I think that now that the tried and true way of trying to get in here has failed, it's time to be snicky. So
Tried and false in this case.
yes. Yeah.
So on Kai's part, he's still standing there in front of the... Oh, yeah.
Why are you still standing here? You have to go back to work. You do realize that I have a copy of everyone's schedules, and I know exactly who and who not should be here.
Okay. I have like 15 minutes, so you want me to go all the way out to my post and then... Okay, I thought that was fine. Okay, I'll go do that. Kai trudges over to his post, and while he goes, he sends a text message back to, I guess it's Atlas's hacking rig, that says, I am off duty in 15 minutes.
Okay. I'd probably have notifications forwarded to my Pihon just to not have to drag out the laptop every...
That makes sense. You have text forwarding.
Yep.
I'm going to assume that you relayed the information to Praxis, and Praxis is going to basically suggest that we wait. And in the time frame that we are waiting is going to pull one of her loose silks that is a part of her load and kind of wrap it around her head as a pseudo disguise for the fact that we are going to now attempt to be sneaky. And because of the fact that she doesn't have hair or anything like that, this is the closest thing that she can do to make herself look different.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, if you two are waiting, Kai, the last 15 minutes of your shift go by pretty uneventfully, and you get a little ping on your Pihon that says, "Yeah, you're off duty." Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to get some milkshakes in the cafeteria.
To the tune of the...
Okay. Do I get a free milkshake coupon or anything like that?
No, they're just free milkshakes. In the cafeteria, there's a milkshake machine.
Right. So on my way to go get a milkshake, I'm just going to send them a message that says, like, what's the plan?
I'll just fire back. I guess we sneak in.
Kai, you would probably have an idea of where on the perimeter would be primo for sneaking in that isn't directly through the front checkpoint.
That's probably one of the things Kai is good at, is having figured out where he can touch things and also not pay attention while on duty. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. You might even know of multiple such entrances.
Okay. So how should I go about that? Do I get to just say like a suggestion that they should go for, or do I need to make a roll of some kind?
No, you can outline the suggestion.
Okay. So on
you
the
get to
first
play
floor,
in this space.
Yeah. So there's a milkshake machine, which is in the cafeteria.
Yes.
The free milkshakes for the cafeteria are very popular. And one of the largest points of like traffic is where they go to refill the cafeteria's milkshake machine. I'm sure it's like big industrial drums that are full of gross stuff. But yeah, they've got
No,
a fairly...
they use real cream, and there are
Oh,
vegan
wow.
ones. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I really just don't give the 51st Legion enough credit. When we get back to the regular timeline, I'm going to have to consider reenlisting. But for right now, because I know the milkshake area is so busy, there's really no way they can control that traffic. I mean, people are constantly there for milkshakes.
You're not wrong. Yeah. So you're suggesting that they go through basically the milkshake refill entrance where the workers
Right.
would bring in the giant drums of milkshake?
Right. Yeah, anything or that, or anything adjacent to the actual dairy that's, outside of the grounds, anything like that. Yeah.
Okay. I would assume that once we have that information that we head in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna hope they don't balk at people not in uniform getting milkshakes.
Are there any uniforms or anything around that we can kind of put on to blend a little more, or is that too much?
At this point, you are outside of the base, so I will say that there are no uniforms laying on the ground outside of the base. But once you are in the base, you may be able to find extra uniforms.
Perfect.
But you are able to, he gives you his little spiel about the milkshakes and how good they are, how it, is a little chokehold in the base as everyone's going in to get that sweet creamy delight, or that sweet non-dairy creamy delight, sweet vegan delight, if you will. And you walk around the perimeter of the base and you're able to see quite clearly where there are workers. They do not appear to be legionnaires. They're not wearing Legion uniforms. They're wearing like white smocks, and various clothes that you would identify as like that person looks like they're an electrician, and that person looks like they work in the kitchen, and that person, and you see, in fact, as you come around, a truck is backing up to one of those big sliding doors. And in the truck are 3 large drums, and they look very frosty on the outside.
Let's say we give them a little help, shall we?
I agree. Hustle.
Yeah, as you approach the truck, there is someone driving it, and there are 2 people inside the truck, and they are operating a remote control operated lifting drone. Are you going into the truck, or are you just kind of going through the doors?
I wouldn't think we'd go into the truck. I don't think there's much for us there, but I don't know if we should just try to enter through the loading dock or like pretend to be helping them somehow.
I'm going to say that if we see an opportune moment where maybe they're kind of distracted with like unloading, that like Praxis is going to kind of walk over towards them somewhat hurriedly and be like, oh, great. You guys are here. Wonderful. Let's help bring that in. And just kind of make it seem like, that she's there to help them with unloading and loading things up.
Okay. Yeah, you say that, and one of the workers looks up at you and says, yeah, it would be great if you have another one of these drones. Ours went down, so it's going to take us a long time to get all 4 of the drums, and if you have another one, it would really help speed up the process.
Sure thing. I'll go and take care of that right now. And Praxis is then going to start heading towards the door into the building and kind of like look to Atlas and kind of like motion like, hey, we've kind of got the okay to go in and have an excuse, so let's do this.
Okay. Just to add like a little bit of credibility to it, I want to like kind of take a look at the downed drone real quick and like inspect it and like maybe try to see what the problem is, and then say, oh, hold on, I gotta go grab something inside. I think I might be able to fix this.
Okay.
Scoot.
Yeah, you look it over, and the drone, it just has blown. It's one of those ones that's like the 4 kind of wings that push out air, and that's how it lifts.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know how to describe what drones look like. It looks like those things that come around cans, the
Yeah.
ones that like choke turtles or whatever. It looks like
Gotcha.
that. Exactly. And one, that's what they do, Hans. They do. They're bad for the environment. If you get them and you put them in the garbage can, make sure you cut the rings out so it doesn't form a little ring. It's my advice to you.
Not just the rings, get the handles too.
And the handles, just cut it all up. Don't even throw it away. Keep it in your house. Just create a huge pile of plastic. It's the only way to save the environment.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's actually for real what my partner does. He refuses to throw out plastic. And when I first met him, I opened a drawer and it was full of plastic shampoo bottles. So that's a real thing that people do. I live that life daily. One of the wings is just kind of clogged with debris. And so it can't lift properly.
Okay.
Aw, sad little drone.
Yeah, so I'll just call out. Let me go see if I can find some, find a compressor, see if I can clean this out for you. And then I'm going to in through the door and follow Praxis.
They don't seem to be paying. Once you've kind of signaled to them you're going to get what they asked for, they're really not paying attention. They're working on lifting the one drum and getting it in.
Perfect.
So once we get inside from here, do we know where we need to, I would imagine that we have no idea where we need to head. So has Kai indicated to us once we're inside where we need to go?
Well, Kai is now in the cafeteria at the milkshake machine. Kai, are you going for dairy, non-dairy, or vegan?
What are my flavor options here?
Well, there's chocolate, there's vanilla, there's swirl, there's candied jalapeno, there's prickly pear, there is strawberry balsamic, there is ones with crickets in it, there is like a mudslide type flavor, and then there's coffee.
Okay. And if you were going to recommend one of these flavors to me, which one would you have recommended based on all those descriptions you just gave?
I think I love a good coffee milkshake. But I think I would, there's also cookies and cream. I don't know if I said that. Okay. I think I might go in what I'm kind of craving right now. I might go with the candied jalapeno because it's like a little spicy and fun.
I'm on the exact same page as you are. Yes, that's definitely what I would go for. But I also really do like the flavor of prickly pear. And it's like something that if I see that on a menu, I would usually go for that too.
Okay.
But yeah, candied jalapeno.
You can swirl any of the options. All options are swirlable.
It's like going to the 7-Eleven, right? You can just put whatever drinks you want in your cup and people will judge you, but they can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
So yes,
small layer of each flavor.
Yep.
So as you come off the loading deck, you enter into the kitchen where things are being prepared, and you continue walking out through the doors. And when you walk out through the doors, you are now in the dining room, and you can see Kai at the milkshake machine. And there's a huge line behind him. He was not kidding about this.
I want to say once we see where Kai is in the line, we're just going to kind of like hang back and maybe try and get his attention. Not wanting to go out into the space with all these people, just trying to like, almost like when you see a stray cat, you're just like, psst, 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 please be my friend. Psst.
How well does that work, Kai? Are you
I
easy
look over
to
at them and
grab
I
the
point at the
attention of?
milkshake. No, I pointed to make sure I can get you one, but it's going to make everybody really upset. You're supposed to wait in line.
I don't. And Praxis is just like, I don't drink. I don't know. Like, come on.
Atlas, no.
Maybe on the way out.
I walk over there instead. The problem here is I've already broken my Kai doesn't know their name rule, so oh well.
I do think that they had actually introduced themselves to you.
That's true, but
I think
really
they
don't
did.
feel like Kai pays much attention to people on that level,
That's fair.
like names and physical
Maybe
description.
it's one of those things where you don't know that you're paying attention, but all of the information is being stored. You just aren't aware of it. So it kind of is floating by, and at times you're able to pick at it, and then at other times it's just out of reach.
Yeah, that's how my brain works in real life, so I believe that.
Okay. Currently, though, Kai, you do know that even though you are in the cafeteria, there's a mix of on and off duty 51st Legion soldiers. These two are not wearing uniforms, and there are also no robots in the Legion.
Having some cross talk.
Are dogs. There are lots of dogs in the Legion. There's a puppy pit. It's just full of puppies.
Every good Legion needs at least one puppy.
I mean, let's face it, at this point, I'm going to abandon the entire scenario and just go in the puppy pit. But the
To be honest, Praxis will join you.
Yeah. Okay, so new plan. But okay, so Kai goes over to them and is drinking his milkshake and says, "Are you ready to go? Are you going like that?"
Yeah, bring us. What do you mean
you
like
need
that?
to finish your shake.
No, I'm off duty. I can bring this with me.
How silly of me. Then yes.
Okay. Basement's this way. And we go towards the basement.
Okay.
Yep.
He's waiting until I
Everyone's
talk now.
pretty distracted by the milkshake, so you're able to get by pretty easily.
So we'll just continue to use that as long as that's being given and head down towards the basement.
Yep. You're able to get to the first layer of the basement pretty easily because it is accessible by everyone.
And now we have to figure out how to get to the lower basement. Okay, so here's what I know. We're on basement 1. We need to reach basement 3. I don't know where that is.
Is there any sort of lift or
any sort of schematics that you might have access to, any type of layouts, building plans, things of that nature?
I don't have a computer or a p-hone. Well, I have a p-hone, but anyways, I don't have anything that I have access to on me right now. But if we see something, maybe I can get access.
I could probably get access to. But as far as like where we're going, like, did we take a lift to get to this basement that we're at now?
Yeah, it was a stairwell.
Okay. So maybe, I guess, look for like secret panels in the wall, maybe.
Okay. Are you all looking, or?
Well, I'm gonna kind of just start scanning around with my goggles.
Okay. And your goggles are only heat seeking?
They'd probably have some sort of like, if it's possible, they'd have some sort of like current tracking. If that makes sense.
Current tracking? Oh, for
so like to like find like seek out
electric.
electronic panels, yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Oops, I just exited out of roll 20. Praxis, what are you doing / looking for / what's your game plan right now?
Praxis is pretty much going to start from one corner of the room and just kind of be walking, moving her hand kind of up and down on the wall as she walks, and kind of like just applying like a minimal amount of pressure to see if, like, again, if anything seems loose, if anything seems different, almost like in an old cartoon where she's just looking for the book that's just slightly colored differently than the rest of them to pull out at some point.
All right. And Kai, what are you up to?
Kai is going to just use his senses, his mystical senses, to see if he can just detect where the cloak is. It's probably not going to help him find a door, but I don't really think that's what he's looking for. He's just hoping to find the actual item.
Okay, good. So we'll do 3 different rolls, and we will figure out in what order we resolve them after they have happened. So Kai, go ahead and just do an attune roll.
Just
Atlas.
risky position standard.
Yes. Atlas, I think for you, I'm going to just ask for a standard insight. And you have 3 in insight, just so you know. It's the first row of dots. The first row.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
To the left of the divider bar there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for you, Praxis, you may also, I would say, make it an insight roll. So 1 attune, 2 insights. Kai did a terrible job.
So bad. So bad.
Looks like it's just asking for bonus dice. So yeah. Uh-oh.
Okay. You did fine.
Oh, my character sheet is like covering it, so I don't actually know when I rolled the colon.
Oh, you got a 4.
Okay. I just saw like a little.
Oh, but it looks like for some reason it said resist a consequence.
I think it's a resistance roll, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
a roll.
Let me try.
That's why I
it.
was confused. I saw blue and the word stress, and I'm like, ah.
That's so weird. Why does it think that it's a resistance roll?
I think that it just thinks that's why you would be rolling one of the main stats.
Well, whatever.
And I like filled in bars. I don't know.
Praxis, you won't be doing an attune roll. You'll be doing an insight roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard attune. My mistake.
Yeah, no problem. We'll just go with the 4 that you rolled. It's a fine roll, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Sorry, I was talking to Alice. I still need an insight roll from you.
Gotcha.
Oh, well.
Good shot. I swear.
And we'll just ignore that it's a consequence. So we'll start with the lowest and go up because we're not going to get any information from some of you. Kai, you go to attune and you're looking for this artifact, and you know that artifacts are just fat with the way. They're like saturated in it. And so to you, this feels as if it should be very easy. And so you do what you do when you are tuning. You close your eyes and you kind of are searching through the threads of the space for that extra dense connection. And you feel not a mental block. There's nothing pushing against you. It's not like there's something keeping you, or rather there's nothing stopping you, but you're just not able to get anything from inside this room. And you would hazard that whatever the artifact is kept in may be blocking its energy in a way that makes it very, very difficult. You think if maybe you had a little more time. Also, Atlas and Praxis are making noise kind of as they're shuffling about the room. There's just a little bit of a distraction. You have a brain freeze. There's a lot going on, and you're just not able to pick up on those threads that you're looking for. Atlas.
I mean, really, Kai should expect that because he's been here before. He would have known the thing was here if it was that easy to find, right? So.
That's true. You're not wrong. Atlas, you got a 4. You are looking in the wall and you find, obviously there are electrical connections in lots of places. There are lights here, so there's that. The floors are heated, so there's some there in the floor. But you do actually find a very strange power box. It's very large and it's a little bit further down. It's not quite near you. And as you walk to it, you realize that this is something that generates a lot of power and it's hidden beneath the wall. You think that it might go to a lift, but there are branching off of it connections that go in various directions, and you're not sure which direction would lead you to the lift. While you're looking at this and maybe trying to decide which direction to go, Praxis, you are going along the wall and you are, tapping at it, doing a little pat down, doing some visual inspection. And as you're going along the wall, you are making your way all around. And when you get to the farthest wall in the room, the farthest area in the room, you see just a little tiny seam in the wall, barely perceptible. And when you press on it just right, it slides out of the wall. And there is a call button, remote type situation in the slide out port.
I think I found something.
Look over.
Kind of
Be like,
hold it up. Show it to the two of them.
Oh, it's like in there. It's not.
Oh, it's in there.
removable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I point
It's
to
kind
it
of
then.
It's
Yes.
it's like 3 buttons, kind of.
Gotcha. Praxis is going to kind of point it out to them and then kind of motion specifically to Kai. I think that this might be a call system, and since you actually work in this establishment, you might be best to actually make the call. They'll at least recognize your voice.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Kai pushes the button.
Which button? There are 3 buttons.
Oh, that's a good question.
There's top, middle, lower.
Well, we want to go lower, so I guess I'll push the lower button.
You do. It illuminates the outer part of it, and nothing happens for a few seconds. And then you see Atlas, you still have your glasses going. When he presses that lower button, there is kind of a burst of energy that goes from the button, and it goes all along the wall, and it goes into that box you were just looking at. And after a few seconds, right across from it, there opens a door. The wall kind of opens, and there appears to be an elevator.
ta-da!
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Perfect. Shall we?
Kai,
I suppose we
enters the
shall.
elevator.
Yeah.
Boot scoot boogie over to this elevator.
You get in the elevator, and it smells nice.
Are we talking about like a floral scent, or what's our elevator scent like?
It smells like
what is nice
warm-
comparatively for elevator?
It smells like warm vanilla.
Oh, warm vanilla. Okay.
That's great. 'Cause
And-
cold vanilla is awful.
And again, very similar to the buttons you just pressed, there are 3 buttons on the wall. But this time they are horizontal. There's left, middle, right.
Is there any markings on these buttons?
No. But if you wanted to make a if one of you wants to make a study roll, I will give you that. I will give you that little insight.
I would like
I
to
will
make
do-
a study roll. Oh.
I could also make a study roll.
Well, one of you could make a study roll and the other one could help. And then you get an extra bonus dice.
I will happily help Atlas, considering that I now work for him.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and make the study roll and get a +1.
All right. Position.
Risky effect
Okay.
standard.
Perfect. And 1 bonus die. Yeah. 3 and a 4.
Okay. You are able to very barely see kind of the remnants of finger oils on all of the buttons. So you know that all of the buttons have been used. However, with a 4, you can't learn anything without there being a consequence. And the consequence is that you can really not tell the difference between which one has been used more or less. They're all greasy.
Well, trial and error.
It's worked out so
No,
well in the
If
past.
there's an error, we're probably going to get in trouble.
Well, we'll burn the bridge when we come to it. And I'm going to press the 3rd button.
Okay. Is that the one on the left or the right?
The far right.
Your right or the elevator's right?
My right.
Okay.
So if I'm facing the panel, I'm going to press the button farthest
It's
to my
your
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that would be the elevator's left. If you
Yes.
consider that the elevator's looking at you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. So
But
stage
you're right.
left. Yeah.
You're right. Elevator's left.
Now I'm horrified of elevators. Awesome.
You press the button, the door closes, and the elevator begins to move to the. You press the right? Begins to move to the right. And it's going super slow. But after a few minutes, it stops. It comes to a little halt, and the door opens, and you are looking at what appears to be a conference room. And in the conference room, there's a circular table, one of those tables that are always in sci-fi things where they're round, but they're also hollow in the center. So it's more like a roller rink type of situation. It's like I'm not going to make the comparison I was just going to make. People who maybe frequent these types of establishments know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's basically round on the outside. There's a part of the center. And there are 3 people sitting around the outside of the table. And in the center is a display of kind of the system as a whole. And when the door opens, all 3 of these faces look up at you, and one of them, recognizing your uniform, Kai, says, "Private, what are you doing here?" And someone else says, "Who the fuck are you all?"
The security tech. You hear about a breach?
A breach in what?
We were sent here because there was a breach in the security system that we were supposed to look into. We weren't given very many details. We were told that we actually had to go into this establishment and into this basement area to find who we needed to speak to about more details. So we were kind of hoping that you might have some more insight for us.
Private, is this true? Who sent you to bring these 2 to me?
Honestly, I don't pay very much attention to who's talking to me.
All right, well, come on in. What exactly do you need to do? And he makes some motions on the table, and the system map goes away, and you're just left with that hollow center of the table. And he says, "Whatever you need to do, but can you make it quick? We're kind of in the middle of a meeting."
Certainly, it shouldn't take long at all. Actually, Atlas, while you set up your rig, if you would actually care to step over here with me so that Atlas has space to set up, we can talk a little bit more about the breach, and any information that you can that you can give to us would be incredibly helpful. And then I'll relay that to Atlas after he's done getting things set up.
The 3 of them stand up and they shuffle your way, Praxis, leaving the room, largely open. Are you standing in the corner off to the side of the elevator, or are you walking to meet them?
I'm going to walk to meet them and kind of try and get them to be off to the side of the table so that Atlas can set up his rig and we can continue to bullshit our way through whatever we're going to do next.
Okay. All right. So they walk towards you and then they stop when you get to where you want to go.
And Atlas would just pull up some table and, open up his rig and find some sort of plug-in.
On the table?
Yeah. If there's because there's the projection, right? So there's electronics in this big table,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd just kind of hook directly into there and face the screen away from the people who are in the meeting.
Okay.
And try to discreetly pull up schematics.
Okay. So you're trying to get intimate knowledge of kind of these basements.
Yeah.
The sub basements.
So we can actually find where we're supposed to go and not stumble into other meeting rooms.
Okay. I'll have you do a hack roll.
Yeah.
Because even though you are in the base, everything is going to be encrypted. And then Kai, what are you up to?
The only thing that has worked for Kai in this room, the way that he was hoping for, is acting like he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's just going to stand next to the wall by the elevator and not do anything.
Okay. Atlas, go ahead and give me that hack roll.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking up something. Yeah. Okay. Heck. Risky standard again.
Yes.
5.
Cool. So you were able to pull up a pretty well mapped out blueprint of this, and you know that of the basement that you came off of, the first basement, the sub basements aren't actually below that first basement. They're kind of more on either side of it, so they're not connected directly. They're kind of like arching off to the side, so everything is pretty much on one level, and you just happen to go in the wrong direction. If you were going the other direction, you would get to the room that you want. But you also know that that room, based on these schematics, there are symbols that kind of that show how well guarded something is, or of what priority it is, or secrecy level. You know that the room that's to the left of you / the elevator's right is super high priority, very top secret, and will probably be very well guarded. You don't know what well guarded means. You just know that it'll probably be a little more well guarded.
So I'm just gonna, for like another minute or so, pretend that I'm like waiting for something to load, and then eventually just kind of shut down my rig.
Okay.
I assume that you've located the issue, Atlas?
Yeah, I've got all the stats pulled up, and it'll take some analysis, but I think I've got what I came for.
Perfect. Gentlemen, I assume that they're gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And if you'll excuse us, we have to press on to our next location in order to see if we can take care of this breach as quick as possible. And we thank you again for all of your help and apologize for the intrusion.
Of course. Continue on your way. He turns to you, Kai, and he says, "Soldier, continue."
Kai does his salute and gets in the elevator.
All right.
Right. Yeah, so we pile in the elevator, and I'd actually reach for the middle button.
Okay. You press the middle button, and the doors close. The temperature in the elevator rises slightly, and strobe lights start to go off.
That's not what I wanted. I press the button again.
The same button?
Yeah.
Music starts to play. You're pressing the middle button?
Yeah.
Yeah, music starts to play.
Okay. And we still have alarms blaring?
There are no
lights
alarms.
going
It's just,
or whatever?
It's just, yeah, it's lights.
Okay. Left button then?
You press the left button, the lights stop, the music stops, the temperature drops, and you begin to move to the left.
Okay. So
as you're moving sideways, you keep going for a little bit, and then the elevator comes to a stop. The door opens, and you are faced with a hallway. And at the end of the hallway, there is a door, and on either side of the door are two soldiers with blaster pistols. One has a blaster pistol, and one has more of like a long gun. And they are standing at attention, staring at you.
All right, there goes my plan. So, just act natural, ladies and gentlemen.
What was your plan? Just
I was hoping to go back to the regular basement, and then switch my goggles to heat to try to get some sort of and look towards where the other basement is and see if I could get any heat signatures from that. But oh well.
If you were to, you could still switch your glasses to heat right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Just kind of like under the pretense of adjusting my glasses, just change them over to heat and see if
you immediately see two heat signatures right in front of you.
Okay. Didn't know if there were more behind them. Anyway.
I'm going to say that once the door opens and we see these two individuals, the Praxis is going to slowly exit and start heading towards them, ready to try and have a conversation again, and is hoping that Kai and Atlas are following behind her.
One of them says, "Halt! What are you doing here? Do you have the proper authorization?" And then the other one says, "I didn't get any notification that anyone was coming down here today."
With that, Praxis is going to respond, "Yes, we do have the proper authorization. We were actually just sent from," and she's just kind of look to Kai and be like, "What was the name of that individual again?" Referring to the officers that we just spoke with.
Do I need to make a rule for Kai to remember people's names?
You have, well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one of their names if you think that Kai would have remembered it.
This could be one of those galaxy brain moments where he realizes he was paying attention because this is the same officer that he keeps getting in trouble with.
Okay, so this will be Officer Frederick Donuts.
Yeah, we were just speaking to Lieutenant Donuts and they sent us in here.
One of the guards kind of cocks his head and he says, "All right, where's your authorization, Chit? Can you send me along the file?"
No, my phone got hacked.
What's a phone?
P-hone. My P-hone
Thank
got
you.
hacked.
Thank
I don't know what a
gosh.
phone is. I've never heard of that before.
Kids these days with their lingo.
Slip of the tongue.
Right,
Slang.
that's right.
You were just speaking too quickly and it just came out like that.
Wait,
Kai has
hold
a
on.
speech
Say
impediment.
that
Yeah.
again. Phone? Hey, that has kind of a nice ring to it. I kind of like that.
It's going to be the opposite. It will immediately not catch on. Everyone
Bye,
hates it.
everyone.
It's the worst.
Well, that's too bad that your P-hone was hacked, but I cannot let you in without that authorization. Whether or not Officer Donut sent you has nothing to do with what I need, which is I need it so I can scan it. I can't even open the doors without scanning it. And he holds out his P-hone and he's like, "See, I have it. I need to scan it. If you don't have it, can't scan it."
Maybe they can fix my P-hone for me since they're already here to fix the other problem.
Atlas, would you be able to take a look at the phone?
Give it a shot.
Certainly.
Well,
worth a try.
so there's nothing wrong with Kai's phone. So there's nothing to fix, unfortunately.
I'm aware of this.
And you aren't able to forge the authorization that you need because you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm also aware of that. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. And I'm gonna kind of like heft my like rig up like in one arm and kind of like type away with another one.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try to discreetly, since I don't know if it would be possible, but to try to find some hint of what these chits might look like.
Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll a hack. I am going to change your position to desperate because you have no idea what you're doing.
Sure.
And you're looking for something that you wouldn't even know. Like, this is so much more complex than just looking for blueprints.
Right.
So.
Okay. Is there anything I can do to improve my chances?
So this is something that I've actually been thinking about. So in the system, yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
However, with the new player games, there's really no consequences for you for taking any of the things I would offer you, which means that like one of the things that you can do is you can take stress, but you taking stress actually has no effect on your character of the game because stress comes to play later in the game.
Right.
So I think, unfortunately, just because of how the game works, there is nothing I'm going to allow you to do, because nothing that you would just say yes to everything. I'd be like, okay, you can, but you're going to be depressed next game. You know,
Right. Yeah. It's a one shot. So it's like, what can you possibly do to me? I got you.
That's just kind of a decision I'm making just to make it more interesting. Otherwise, you would always, the players would always be able to get bonuses.
Yeah, totally behind that.
If that feels fair.
100%.
But
can I take some stress for like a recurring character? Because then we could do bad things to Kai.
it's true. I will allow Kai to help you out, and then Kai, you would need to take one stress to help.
Do that. And maybe Kai just already has one of these chits on his phone, so it would be pretty easy to like see what the template looks like.
I'll say that if you hand Atlas your P-hone, which he's then pretending to fix, even though it's not broken. Because you are in the Legion and you have had military allowances in the past, you do have some past allowances, some past chits that let you in places. So Atlas would be able to, based off of what those look like, kind of maybe be able to backtrack from which source are they offered, and then maybe go through their list to find the one that would let you into this room. That would be how your information would help him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd take like with my free hand, be like, plug this into your phone real quick. I need just so I can run diagnostics while I'm working on this. And start hacking away.
So I'll actually offer you this. I'll do kind of one of the things you can do is a devil's bargain. So kind of what we did before. I'll say either you can keep it as a risky position, but you don't get a bonus dice from Kai helping you, or it is a desperate position and you get a bonus dice.
Well, I want some. Oh, go for it. Sorry.
If it's a desperate position, the success ratio is different. So it's not necessarily the same, like 4 or 5 you get to succeed.
Right.
Because it's a desperate position, you're not really ever going to succeed as well as you think. So either desperate bonus dice, risky no bonus dice.
Okay. I kind of want to spice things up and make it desperate.
Okay, let's do it.
Because this is kind of out there. Forging documents. It's not really like Atlas's usual MO.
I like it.
So,
I love the drama.
So desperate, still standard?
Yes.
And a bonus die. And
well,
I got a 6.
You got a 6, which is literally the best that you can do. And so in this game, there are no criticals, obviously, because there's only one dice that counts. Yep. However, if you were to get 6s all across the board, if all of your dice were 6, then that counts as a critical.
Yeah.
So you are able to, you're going through Kai's records and you see that at some point he has been allowed to various parts of the base. Never has he been allowed into anything so deep in the bowels of the base, nothing this high level. But you're able to kind of find that all of these chits, all of these allowances have been issued from the same office. And you're able to kind of backtrack to that office. And then you're able to infiltrate that office as well. And you're able to find the allowance that'll get you into this room.
Okay.
But there is, because it was desperate, there's still a little bit of the risk, even with the success. And it's that you're taking a very long time. And one of the guards pulls his blaster pistol out of his holster. He doesn't point it at you, but he has it pointed at the ground, but it is out. And he says, I'm going to need to see that authorization now, or I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
I apologize. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer due to the signal getting interference from being down this low. He'll have it up in just a moment, and I apologize for the delay.
Did you want to try this milkshake? It's candied jalapeno and prickly pear. I mean,
is it the vegan one?
I don't think so.
No, I'm vegan. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Tack Tacking away
Tacking away.
with this distraction.
So because he's offering you kind of a time frame here, you now have to craft this fake authorization.
Sure.
So I'm going to have you make one more roll. This will just be a standard risky.
Okay,
Just
another
to
hack
see.
roll?
This is another hack roll because now you're trying to create the fake. Like you kind of have access to what they look like, but now you have to try and replicate it onto Kai's phone with his information.
Right, in a limited time frame. Okay,
In a limited
so risky
time frame.
standard. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You are able to do it. You make this chit but there's a spelling error. And typically as the GM, I actually don't make rolls, but every now and again we make what's called fortune rolls, which is when something's uncertain, but I don't necessarily want you to keep having to roll. Like I kind of want to force it a little bit. So I'm going to say you create this chit, this authorization. It looks very convincing, but there is a spelling error. And as you hand the phone back to Kai, I'm going to see whether or not this guard sees the spelling error.
Okay.
He's only going to get 1d6. But he's in a controlled situation because he does not feel the pressure that you guys feel right now.
Right. Is this the one with the pistol or the one with the long arm?
The one with the long arm is the one who is reading it, and he does not catch the spelling error.
Okay.
So he takes your p-hone and he scans it, and the doors open. And the one with the blaster pistol looks a little embarrassed, and he puts it away and he says, "Listen, I'm really sorry about that, but you understand this is my job. I got to make sure that no one's trying to sneak down here. No hard feelings, I'm sure."
None at all.
Completely understandable.
Way better.
That's why we're here. We understand about security protocols entirely, and thank you for doing your job. And again, we appreciate all of your assistance and your patience with us.
And they step aside and they allow you into the room.
Go into the room, yeah.
When the three of you go into the room, the doors shut behind you, and it's dark for a second, but then lights begin to flicker on from the floorboards up slowly. And this is a pretty moderate-sized room, but there's only one thing in it. And in the middle of the room, there is a pedestal, and on the pedestal is a black box.
Praxis is immediately going to walk over to that. And is there any way, without touching this pedestal, to kind of see if it's on like a weighted mechanism? Like if we're going to have to pull like an Indiana Jones and like swap it out for something of equal weight so it doesn't trigger an alarm or something?
You can do a study check, but I also know that Kai's going to touch it regardless while you're doing the study.
That's fair.
It is not wrong. It's definitely
So
not.
I'm gonna leave.
I think this will be, we haven't had to do this before, but we could do a player character versus player character roll if you want.
Sure, let's go for it.
Because
Try
I
something
mean,
new.
I just know that like, because Kai's whole thing is that he just touches everything all the time. I don't think, and you could correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong, Kai, but I don't think you're thinking, if I touch this thing, is an alarm going to go off?
I don't feel like any part of your statement was incorrect.
Because you've probably set off many alarms.
Yeah, that's again what I'm going for right now. So yes, I do plan to touch this thing regardless of what other preparations anybody else is making.
All right, let me...
While
kind of-
you do that,
No, go ahead.
Praxis is going to kind of signal to Atlas to maybe start taking his rig out again so that if an alarm does go off and these people do come in, that it looks like, you know, try and set yourself up near this thing so it looks like maybe it went off because you like nudged it a smidge and that it was all accidental. So just in case people come in, it looks totally non-suspect.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna open up the hacking rig and just kind of like stand near the pedestal while Kai does his thing.
Play some Gattaca, whatever.
I think these two, I'm going to have you both make a resolve roll. And it'll be whoever has the highest.
Oh, dear. Just a standard resolve roll?
Just standard resolve.
Gotcha.
Hey.
All right. So Praxis, as you are beginning to study this, you see Kai moving in with his fingers outstretched, and he has a devious glint in his eye, and you are able to quickly intercept his hands.
She's just gonna kind of smack them away and go, jam hands, no.
Hey, I'm only down here to touch that.
Can you wait until we've at least figured out if there's going to be an alarm triggered by touching it? You can touch it all you want once we've got it out of the box and make sure that everything's safe.
I'm not really interested in that, but I guess I can wait, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Now you can just do a study roll, now that you have the time.
So.
All right. I'd like to assist if I could.
Yeah, of course. So you'll get 1 extra dice.
Risky or desperate?
This is just going to be risky.
Standard.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
There's nothing. This is just a room with cool lights, and there's a pedestal. There's no backup mechanisms to keep this in check.
Okay. Praxis is going to take the box, is going to take the cloak out of the box, is going to hold it up for Kai to do what Kai does with the intention that once Kai is done touching it, that she is going to fold it back up, give it to Atlas to put in with his hacking rig to kind of just hide it, and to take maybe something off of her from her own load. Maybe one of her luxury items is a book or something of equal weight, and put that back into the box, and then put the box back on the pedestal so it looks like it's been undisturbed. And also if anyone comes in immediately afterward and picks it up, it still feels like it has something inside of it.
Okay. All right, Kai, Praxis has offered you this cloak. She's holding it out to you.
Okay, Kai's gonna touch it. Now, I know Kai just seems super weird all the time, and that's his only deal, but realistically, he's looking for something that's out there in the universe that's connected to the way, and he hasn't found that that connection that makes sense yet. So he's trying to investigate these mystical items a little bit more. So
Okay.
He is now touching the cloak.
All right. Why don't you make an attune roll? Let's go with a controlled position.
Okay.
You're in your element right now. This is kind of the best of circumstances for you.
Okay, and I have an advantage that I was gifted earlier. So with that, should I use that as a bonus die, or how are we doing that?
I don't remember. Yeah, bonus dice.
Okay, so controlled with a bonus die. Boom, boom. And did it do things? Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey.
You did.
Pro side,
That's
it
a good
wasn't
thing.
just the ones.
Yeah. You touch this cloak, and it is surprisingly heavy. It has a heft to it, and it has a very silky texture. It feels very nice, tactilely. It's very pleasing. You've touched a lot of stuff before, and you've touched some low-level artifacts, and you've touched some cool things that gave you a little rush. But when you touch this, you feel the way flowing through you as you never have before. You feel as if you are in tune with the way that lives in everyone. And suddenly you feel as if you can almost feel Praxis standing next to you and Atlas. You can feel the way as it pulses through them. And you have this very intense, I don't necessarily want to say religious, maybe spiritual. You have a very intense spiritual connection. You have a very intense spiritual experience where you really feel that the way is in everything. It touches everything in its own way. That's what you feel when you touch
for
this
whole time.
Yeah,
That's perfect. So Kai is involved in that for probably way too long, and with whatever consequences happen.
there won't be any consequences.
Okay, but he's just gonna keep standing here and is not paying attention to anything else happening at this point.
Praxis, how long do you allow him to stand there just like fondling this cloak?
I want to say that like after about 30 seconds, Praxis is going to just slowly start to do the whole pulling the cloak towards her sort of thing, because she recognizes the fact that we are in a highly stressful and highly guarded situation, and wants to kind of get out of here as quickly as we got in. And the longer we stay in here, the more we raise suspicion and allow for our lies to kind of seep through the cracks. So, like, let's wrap it up. Literally.
All right. You didn't really miss anything. Kai touched the cloak and had a very spiritual experience, but you're still inside the room, and Praxis has now removed the cloak from his hands.
Cool. Yeah, I managed to pull Twitch up on my phone, so I caught most of that.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I'm with Praxis. I think we should skedaddle as fast as possible.
Okay. All right. So you load some of your luxury items, Praxis, into the box. You fold up the cloak nice and small. You put it in with your hacking rig, and you are able to exit the room and head towards the elevator.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
You can get up to the main floor, and you can get out of this building. Also, you get to the main floor with no problem.
Okay.
How about we celebrate with some milkshakes? Huh?
Yeah, on the way up, Kai also mentions, by the way, I told somebody else they could use the cloak for something.
Where are they?
Oh, they're here on base.
Do you have a way of contacting them immediately to get them to where we're currently at?
Kai takes out his p-hone and starts typing in Wilson's information.
Winston.
Yeah. Wilson's a silly name. Winston, perfect.
Yeah, you have Winston's information. There are a lot of unanswered messages that he sent you over the month saying like, hey, are you free tonight? I don't know if you're doing anything this Saturday, but I have tickets to the game. Oh my gosh, I just saw this very funny video and it made me think of you. All of them unanswered.
Yeah, that sounds right. And so he writes, got the thing, where you?
You immediately see dots indicating that he's typing. And he says, meet me at my quarters, at my room, at my bunk, on my bunk bed. Meet me on my bunk bed.
I have to remember where he's at and which bunk is his. Okay. So he's just down this way.
Sounds like the bottom bunk type. Yeah, let's go meet Winston. Did you say his name? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, probably. I don't remember. But
And
okay,
let's be quick about it.
You're able to find his quarters fairly easily, and he is sitting on, and you were totally right, he's sitting on the bottom bunk, cross-legged and looking ecstatically at you as you enter.
These are some other people that also are interested. You want to show him the cloak?
Praxis is going to move to take the cloak out of Atlas's hacking rig.
Yep.
And once she has it out, is just going to kind of like hold it up in front of her, not really moving towards this individual, just kind of holding it to wait to see what they do and for them to explain what they needed or wanted for.
He comes towards you immediately and he takes the cloak. Are you offering resistance, or can he just take it from your hand?
No, she's definitely like kind of holding on to it with a strong grip, like wants to know like what he wants to use it for before she like releases her hold on it.
Kai told me, because I gave him the information, that I could put the cloak on.
And do you intend to give it back?
Yes.
Is it?
Are you aware of the glitch?
Yes.
Okay, he knows the risks.
Well, normally I'd ask what you'd be wanting to use this for, but I don't really
I
think
want
that's
to walk through one of the milkshake tubes.
Can they just meet you on the outside and you can just hand them the cloak then?
This sounds super good.
You see Praxis kind of like do like a like head twinge, almost as though like she's sputtering just a little bit before she kind of snaps back and is just like, sorry, that sounds fine.
Delicious. Also, you know how to use it, right?
I put it on, I hold my breath, I walk through, I don't let go of my breath until I'm out on the other side.
Okay.
If this comes back sticky because you wanted to walk through some milkshakes, you're going to be paying for the dry cleaning bill.
I don't know if it's going to come back sticky. That's part of the fun. I hope it does, because I kind of want to get sticky.
We don't have time to unpack that, but
we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Yeah.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
He kind of pulls at the cloak again to see if you've loosened your grip.
Praxis slowly releases her grip from it so that he is now holding the cloak.
All right, I can meet you by the loading dock if you want.
I was serious about
escort
getting
you
a
there.
milkshake.
Yeah, we would like to get milkshakes actually, so be happy to escort you there, and that way we don't have to worry about meeting up with one another at a later point in time.
I'm just worried that if I give you the cloak while we're in the cafeteria, people will notice.
Well, I'm not saying you have to give us the cloak when we're still in the cafeteria, but that way it's not we can go outside together afterwards. But I'm sorry, I don't know you well enough to trust that I will get this back the way that I need it, so I'm going to be keeping both eyes on you as best I can.
All right, that's fair. And he kind of tugs at the cloak again.
Oh, he has it.
Okay.
She's released her hold on it.
Okay. He kind of folds it and puts it under his arm so it's a little less conspicuous, and begins to make his way towards the cafeteria. And you guys can follow him, and you see that he gets to the cafeteria and he goes straight through the doors. And as he's going through the doors, he is wrapping the cloak around him, but then you kind of lose sight of him. And then maybe about 3 minutes later, he comes back out and he has the cloak folded under his arm, and he walks over to you and he says, "I did it."
And was it everything you'd hoped it would be?
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm glad that we could help you with that. And now, if you don't mind.
And he hands you the cloak, and you will note that it is not sticky.
Thank you. And Praxis folds it up, puts it back into the Atlas's hacking rig for safekeeping until they are safely off this base.
All right. Well, you can enjoy some milkshakes, and you've successfully heisted the cloak.
Yes.
Ooh.
And that is the conclusion of our Kai backstory one shot.
And I got my prickly pear shake.
You get
Super
your prickly
psyched.
pear shake. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. and for watching. And thank you so much to our 2 guests. I think usually what we do is we go around and we say again our name and where you can find us, and a moment that we really liked. And let's just go opposite order. So let's start first with the always lovely Hans.
Oh, I have to go first. Okay, so I'm Hans. I really liked playing this game. I think both of our guests were excellent and contributed a lot of fun things to this. I don't know how you're supposed to break into a military base and wear a cloak, but I feel like this was about as successful as it could have gone. So that was really good. Also, prickly player is probably the best flavor. I think we may be able to agree on that at this point. Yeah.
Okay, let's go down to Cora.
Hey everyone, really enjoyed playing this game. Thank you so much again for having me be a part of this. I really loved the fact that this was very different from anything I've ever played before, and I really liked the fact that we did a lot more RP as a means of getting through this story as opposed to having to delve into too much combat. I'm actually really kind of impressed that we avoided having to deal with any combat. There were definitely some moments where I was like, she's about to take out her baton because these people are not going to let us through unless there's force involved. So it was really nice to kind of see that we didn't need to resort to that and get the results that we wanted. And do I need to, you said to do plugs now, later?
I think so. I think we have credits, but I also think just do your plug. Just plug where we can find you.
Perfect. You can find me at GlamourBomb Live, all capital letters, on Twitter. That's where I post pretty much anything that I have to do with gaming and just otherwise general nerdery. You can find me on the podcast Chords of Fate, which has episodes that come out every Monday, and also on Unmade Gaming's channel for the Through the Glass campaign, which airs live every Tuesday. And yeah, and then just at various one-shots such as these, wherever people will allow me to make space at their table.
Great, thank you. And let's go down to our last player, Chad.
Hi, you can find me on Twitter as Hallway7Secrets. Most places you can find me at just Hallway Secrets if nobody's beating me to the punch. This is my first real adventure in streaming, so there's not a whole lot of content to consume for regarding me, but I hope to change that in the future. I really enjoyed this. I have to say, personally, one of the coolest moments of the game was that Desperate Situation 6. That was just aces. But overall, I agree with a lot of what Cora said. I love that it was mechanics light and very narrative driven, and the fact that combat's fun, but the whole heist as an encounter thing is something that I think was really cool to experience. So I just want to thanks Scratticus Academy for having us on, and it's been a blast.
Thank you so much for playing with us. I always love these user games. They're so fun, and they give me a great chance to test situations that are super high chaos and kind of just let the dice fall as they will. Alice isn't here, but we'll plug Alice. She has a Patreon, right, Hans? For her photography, which Hans always plugs. And she's on Twitter at White Rabbit Photography, right? Is that
White Rabbit Pick?
Correct stuff is all in chat, no matter what.
White Rabbit Pick. Thank you so much. Because I was like, that's way too long. It cannot be White Rabbit Photography. And we miss her and we love her. We're sending her all our love. I was your GM. You can find me on Twitter at that is my real name. THT is my real name. And that's what I got for you. So thanks so much, y'all. And see you next week for more of this weirdness.
Space shenanigans.
Space shenanigans.
Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Please check out our social links, Discord, Twitter, and YouTube available there. Also check out our sponsors, Hero Forge. Their Kickstarter is doing amazingly. If you haven't heard about it yet, colored resin, printing minis in color, full color. So go and check that out. Also check out Mage Hand Press. They recently released the Dark Matter expansion for 5e in hardback. You can get 15% discount using our special code, and also check out the Deck of Many Things causing havoc in campaigns across the Scratticus Academy in the last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun. Go and check it out. I'm thinking I might carry on streaming in a little bit. I'm thinking I might stay live. No raid. I might stay live. We might play some Oblivion in a little bit. So, yeah. See you in a bit.